All right, welcome back to Wali's Financial 101. Looking kind of rough today, but hey, don't let the appearance fit the mood, make the mood fit the appearance is what I say. We got Alexander again with us today.
Alex, the financial brother.
So today we're going to be touching on a little more about the 7 steps to financial freedom. So we're going to jump right into it. Step 1, income.
Well, they're not really steps. These are just the 7 financial analysis.
I mean, there's 7 financial analysis, but there's steps, bro. Because you gotta.
The steps.
We're gonna break it down into steps. Because realistically, these are the steps you need to do to make everything flow right.
Yeah.
So first, even to be able to think of anything you want to do, you have to acquire your income. So that's why we start with step 1, income. How do you build an income?
Yeah, so you can build the income multiple ways, As we mentioned before, you got where you're having a job and you can be able to do that, or you can build, and that's the idea of, working under someone where they've taken off the pressure of doing all the other steps that we mentioned before, right? But then you have the other side where you're a business owner, so you have the ability to then make your income based off of the idea that you are producing out, like providing as a service. So those are the different ways that you can acquire.
So let's jump more into it. So you already said ways to acquire income. The most known way, go get a job.
Yep.
Second, if you have an idea that you feel like is profitable, put in effort to build that idea, because now that's basically like whatever your idea is, whether it's providing a service or you have the idea to start drop shipping.
Yeah.
Media is big nowadays, so drop shipping is now another big income.
Exactly.
You see influencers now, the TikTokers, these niggas have no degrees or no nothing, but they're millionaires because they had the idea to hit TikTok and drop their ideas on TikTok, whether they come up with a dance, whether they dropping slogans, whether they promoting other people's businesses that'll help you. They have the idea to do that. So now media is another big income. On top of that, becoming a manager, and that not just mean a manager job. What does management mean? It means you're controlling everybody. You're telling everybody what to do. So building a team is called management. So you building a team and having an idea to teach this team how to do what they do best will also bring in income. So there are multiple ways to get income. You just have to find a niche that fits you. So that's step 1, getting your income. Step 2, removing debt. But when it comes to removing debt, you're never going to pay all your debt off at once, because that's just going to acquire you more debt. So you like to knock down one bill at a time, and I suggest this method because this is how I became debt free. To this day, I'm debt free. Only thing I probably have that's debt is my college tuition, and that's about $3K. But I don't necessarily have to pay that back unless I want to go back to school. But I've removed all my other debt by focusing on one debt at a time. Knocking out one at a time. That creates focus. So
a game
debt,
plan. You gotta have some along with the income, a game plan.
Exactly. So debt is a marathon, not a sprint. You never see somebody on a marathon take off right away. If they do, you see them dead at the end. Exactly.
Easy.
They pace themselves. That's debt. You need to pace yourself.
Exactly. And that's the thing with people. They want to try and attack those big debts. They want to go after the big debts.
You're not financially stable enough.
Yes, you're not even ready for the big debts. You gotta at least put yourself in payment plans. Put yourself in a structured. You gotta put yourself something that's structured to where you can actually do it. That's doable for you. So when we mentioned about debt, to elaborate what he was saying about attacking one bill at a time, while you're attacking those bills, you gotta be able to understand, is this bill that I'm attacking within my financial means? Prioritize it, all right? Because a lot of people, they just attack a debt without no thought of it. They just do it. They pay the debt off, great. But oh man, I got another bill I gotta pay in 2 days. Oh no, okay, I got it. You know what I'm saying? They ain't paying it right. So on that term too, when I say to people when they go after their debts, go after the minimum debts, because obviously those are the ones that you can attack the easiest. when you're attacking those easier ones, then it's where you're now pushing towards those bigger debts and seeing how that, since you've eliminated the previous debt, now the money that you're putting towards that, it gives you relief. So now you put
it makes
that
you
money,
want to get the next bill out the way.
Just like that, you know. So eliminating debt, it just comes with a game plan, just like how it will with income. All these things we talking about comes with a game plan. So just know that.
So, bam, you acquire your income. Bam, you make a plan to remove that. You don't remove it all at once. You make a plan to remove it. Next step, the third step, which would be emergency funds. Yes. See, a lot of people plan to build. They don't even plan. A lot of people just put money away from emergency funds and put money away from savings. But then guess what? You end up touching both of them.
Oof.
So you really want to prioritize your emergency funds first before you even get to your savings. Because you could be trying to build a savings and an emergency happens, and now you're taking from your savings. So no, you build an emergency fund because it's not if something's going to happen, but when. We're all going to die one day. It's a matter of when we're going to die. Don't like to speak stuff into existence, but there are illnesses nowadays. There's a whole bunch of factors that can lead to somebody dying that isn't in their plan. They didn't plan of happening. So not if, but when. So you typically want to build a comfortable emergency funds first before you even jump into building the savings.
Agreed. I agree with that because, you know, when people like look at emergency funds, sometimes they forget that within those emergency funds, you gotta make that your priority first before going anywhere with like savings, because again, like you said, savings can be touched due to unexpected events happening, you know. So when those unexpected events are happening, you're not worried about it coming out of your savings. You're actually just like, oh, okay, dang, like this happened, but I already planned for it. I already made the correct like steps to building myself up to like, if like when this is gonna happen to me, I'm prepared, you know. And so we normally say, you know, you gotta have 3 to 6 months worth of emergency funds.
And that, you know, and touching on that, a big benefit nowadays that we didn't have 10, 15 years ago is the fact that there are accounts that me and him and other people, but for certain, me and him video had cut out. But like I was saying, we both deal with accounts that allow you to put your 3 to 6 months worth of emergency funds into this account, and now this account is generating a savings account as well. So now these accounts that are offered to people nowadays help you build a savings and an emergency funds in one.
2 birds, 1 stone. 2 birds, 1 stone. So really that's clear. Yeah.
So then going into step 4, which entails protection. So like we said with emergency funds, it's not if but when. We're all gonna die one day.
Yes.
The question is, when are we gonna die? We're all gonna become incapable of everyday activities at one point of our life. The question is when. Hopefully it's not till you're 85, 95, but let something happen to you, it might be when you're 65, 55. You never know. So you always want protection in place, because even for people who say, oh, I don't need protection because I don't have any kids right now. Yeah. But do you plan on having kids? Do you have siblings that you care about? Do you want to leave them with the same burdens that you had through life? No. So you always want to get and stay prepared so that when the time comes, you don't have to get prepared.
Exactly, 100%. I agree with that. Because protection, it comes into place when we talk about the 3 that we had mentioned, that income, the debt, the emergency funds, right? And just to break down on each of those, you got the income because let's say that somebody's bringing in an income. You have 2 households or whatever, or even 1 household, right? And you're bringing in an income. Something then happens to you to where now that income is lost. You don't have nothing. Now the family that you had or the people that you were around don't have the capability of still keeping those expenses to continue their day living, right? And so with the protection, it keeps it aligned to where now they don't have to worry about that loss of income because they have something set in place that protected them. And so that falls in line with that. We come with debt. You know, everybody be having debt, but they don't realize that they can provide themselves the ability to, instead of using their money, they can use money to clear the debt.
Or on top of that, people don't realize that when you have debt and you pass away before you clear it all up, it goes to your family members.
It goes to your family.
So if you have protection in place and you do pass early before you get removed your debt, this protection is going to cover all your debt so that your family doesn't have to carry your workload.
Exactly. Estate tax, like what?
Burial tax.
Burial tax. What? Like you're trying to worry about your family member being gone. You can't even focus on it, you know, because you don't got the protection set in place to focus on it. So that becomes your debt, and now you got something set in place that protected you from that debt. And then when it comes to emergency funds, as we mentioned, you can then have it to where savings and emergency fund become one. Why? Because you're saving, yes, but if anything was to happen to you, you can utilize the money to actually go towards the emergencies that happen if that were the case, right? So, protecting everything, as we mentioned before. So
then that takes us into the fifth step, retirement. If we want to throw numbers out there, the average minority really doesn't live past 65. But guess what? What's the retirement age now? 70. So a lot of minorities are dying before they are even able to retire.
Facts.
We talked about what is money. It's an idea. But what also is money? Time. Time is money. Because the earlier you retire, the better your odds of actually bringing in more money, because now you have more time to think about ideas. You retire. Retirement means you don't have to go work to pay a bill. Meaning, if you can be retired and still work.
Yeah, you can still work.
Because that's your will. You're working at a free will. You're not working because you have bills and debt to pay.
Exactly.
At that point, you're working to fit what you want to do. You're not going to be working for a boss that you don't like.
Exactly.
Because you don't need to. You're retired. So now that when you become retired, you get more time to think about stuff. And we say ideas and time is money.
Yes.
So the earlier you retire, typically the more money you will start to eventually make.
And see, that's the thing, you know. But how could people really even focus on that type of thing when they haven't set themselves up to focus on it? So when we go back to even trying to have these things set in place for yourself, you don't realize how retirement could then be affected due to you not taking the proper precautions.
You gotta make time in order to get time.
Yeah, make time to get time, bam. You know?
So then that takes us into step 6, which is a legacy.
Yeah.
Like we said, do you really want to leave a burden on your kids or your family?
Yeah, true.
A legacy means leaving something behind.
Yes.
Kings back in the day had legacies because that's their kingdom. When they pass away, their oldest child takes over. That's the legacy. But there aren't kingdoms nowadays. Nowadays, it's on you to put the time aside to invest in your retirement, in your protection, and leaving your family a legacy.
True. And then too, like he mentioned, making sure it goes back to them, right? Because you can have all the retirements, you can have all these different things, but if you don't make sure that the money that you acquire isn't like having the protection where it's actually going back to them, because people forget there's probate court, there's things that gets, like there's estate tax, there's all these burial tax, as we mentioned before, there's all these things that comes up when someone dies, when they're gone. And so if you don't know that having a trust, a will,
the right protection,
like right protections to then go and give that strictly to your family, not the government,
you're not leaving
a legacy. And so that's what the legacy comes from, making sure it actually is written out in place that, hey, this is where this money is going to. I want this percentage. I want this to go to them. When they turn 18, this is what is going to them. And they're ready for college, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? There's so many different factors of ways you can write it out. But again, it won't be done if you don't do the proper legacy steps.
Now we're talking about legacy, that takes us into the step 7, college planning. Me for particular, I did not continue to choose a college career because when I thought about the amount of money I have to pay to get this degree compared to, do I want to pay this amount of money that I don't have to get this degree, or do I want to jump into the field and learn free of charge?
Yes, that's what
I chose
that's
but
true.
you don't want your
Man.
child to be like, I didn't go to college because I didn't have the funds for it.
Yes.
You want to be able to give your child options. So by you taking the steps to plan for their college, whether they go or not, that's up to them. They can say they don't want to go to college, but they want to get a certificate. So then guess what? We have a fund for your college. You don't want to go to college? Well, these funds will pay for your certifications. They have choices. They're not saying, oh, I can't go to college because I don't got grants. I can't go to college because my family don't got money.
Yes.
You took the steps to provide them with anything that they want.
Yes.
Anything that they want. You provided them with anything that they need. So now they can really choose what they want.
Yeah, there we go. They can choose what they want. Yes. Because, man, you know, a lot of people who went to college, right? They paid all this debt, they paid all these things to get their license, right? And then they became an entry level.
They don't even use their degree.
Yeah, if we had a statistic, it's like you use your degree for the first 2 years, and then after that, you don't use it no more. So people be like 80% of people, and people don't be like taking into account that, like, hey, maybe in the future I may want to change my career, this and that. But because they have all this debt, it's not possible to be done, because, oh man, I want to change it, but I got all these loans that I got to pay back, and because of that,
I can't quit my job and do what I want to do.
Yeah,
I gotta make sure that my debt is paid off.
Yeah, I gotta go pick up 2 jobs or something, like, you know. And so you want to give that ability to have it to where your child has that option to do that. Even you, everybody knows they can go to college at any time. So it's like, why not set yourself up for something to where, okay, you may not have been able to do it when you were 18, 19, 20, but you could do it at 30, 40, whatever time that sets with you, you know. But you put the right steps to make sure that happens.
And the great benefit of today's tools accessible to us is the fact that we do deal with accounts that allow you to make a 7-step, a 3-step to financial freedom. Because why is that? Why is that, you say? Because if you focus on step 1, which is your income, and you do as I say, you plan to remove debt. You don't try to remove it all at once. You plan to remove it. By you putting your emergency funds that you set aside into the right accounts, that account is going to provide you emergency funds, a savings account, protection, a retirement fund, a legacy, as well as funds for college planning. You are knocking down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those steps in one account. Why do you tune into Wally's Financial? Because we give you the backdoor way, because you know the backdoor way gonna fit anyway.
You can do all of them.
All of them. And
That's great. That's great.
And that concludes today's topic.
Yeah.
So thanks for tuning in again. Thanks for tuning in again today. Thanks, Alex, for joining us again today. I know you got places to be, but we make time so that in the end of the progress, we open our own time.
There you go.
So we can't force you to use this knowledge, but we can force ourselves to use this knowledge. So down the line, we can show y'all what progress looks like.
Exactly.
Because it's never too late.
Yeah.
You can be tuning into my channel for 6 months. 6 months down the road, we'll be able to show you progress.
Yeah.
So even if you haven't took the action and do what we've been telling you, when we show you our progress, maybe that'll motivate y'all to start doing it, because it's never too late.
Never, ever. Never too late. Remember that. It is never too late. I don't care how old you are. It is never too late. You just got to take initiative, you know? That's the hardest part out of anything. Doing it.
Exactly. So thanks for tuning in. Ciao.